Ladies, listen up. Love is a battlefield, but the smartest warriors don't chase, they attract. You want a man to come back? You want him to crave you? To realize he messed up? To wake up at 2 a.m. regretting every second he let you go? Then you need to move different. You need to step into your power. See, men aren't wired to chase what's always available. They want what they can have, what feels rare, what makes their soul itch with curiosity. That's why the women who get chased aren't the ones begging for love. They're the ones who become the prize. A man values what he feels he could lose. That's the core of it all. It's human nature, really. We crave what feels rare, what isn't easily within reach, what carries a sense of exclusivity. When something or someone feels guaranteed, when there's no risk of losing it, the appreciation fades. It's not about playing games. It's about understanding the way desire works. Think about it. Why do people treasure diamonds? Not because they're the only beautiful thing in the world, but because they're rare, hard to find and take effort to obtain. That's how a man's mind works when it comes to love and attraction. If he feels like he can have you, no matter how he treats you, if he senses that you'll always be there waiting, available, forgiving every mistake without consequences, his value for you diminishes. It's not that he stops liking you, but he stops fearing your absence. And when a man doesn't fear losing you, he stops trying. He stops showing up the way he used to. He takes his time replying, cancels plans last minute, makes you feel like an option instead of a priority. Not because he doesn't care, but because he feels secure in the fact that no matter what, you'll still be there. That's why the most powerful thing you can do is establish that you are not afraid to walk away. A woman who isn't afraid to leave is a woman a man will never take for granted. It's not about threatening him. It's not about drama. It's about a quiet, unshakable confidence that says, I want you, and that energy, that's addictive. That's the energy that keeps a man on his toes, keeps him working to earn his place in your life. When a man senses that you have boundaries, that you are willing to say no, that you are willing to choose yourself over the bare minimum he gives, that's when he values you. That's when he starts paying attention, starts making the effort, starts treating you the way he did when he was afraid of losing you in the beginning. Because here's the truth, when a man truly loves you, he doesn't take you for granted. But even the best men need to be reminded that love isn't a guarantee, it's a privilege. And the moment he starts believing he doesn't have to work for it anymore is the moment he stops trying. And that's when you have to show him that you are not a woman who waits around to be chosen. You are a woman who chooses herself first. Confidence is the most attractive thing you can wear. It's not just a look, not just the way you walk or talk. It's the energy that radiates from deep inside you. It's an aura, a presence, an unspoken language that tells the world exactly who you are. And men, they don't just see confidence, they feel it, they respond to it in a way they can't even explain. See, confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's not about arrogance or showing off. True confidence is quiet, effortless, and undeniable. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you handle situations, the way you move through life, with the unshakable belief that you are enough. When you have that, when you truly believe it, people, including men, can't help but notice. A confident woman doesn't chase. She doesn't beg. She doesn't settle for less than she deserves. She knows her worth, and because she knows it, everyone around her starts to recognize it too. When a woman steps into her confidence, she doesn't ask for attention, it naturally gravitates toward her. Men can't look away because she stands out without even trying. And the thing about confidence, it creates mystery. A woman who is truly confident doesn't need to explain herself. She doesn't need constant validation because she validates herself. She isn't afraid of being alone because she enjoys her own company. That kind of energy is rare. That kind of woman is unforgettable. She doesn't fall apart when a man pulls away. She doesn't cling when she senses distance. She just continues being her. And that's what drives men crazy. Because most people, men and women alike, are used to insecurity, they're used to people seeking approval, over-explaining, needing reassurance, trying too hard to please. So when a man meets a woman who doesn't do any of that, who walks with her head high, who moves with purpose, who doesn't flinch when things don't go her way, he's mesmerized. He's intrigued. He starts to wonder what makes her so self-assured, why she doesn't react the way others do, why she seems so unbothered, so centered, so full within herself. And here is the secret. Confidence makes a man feel lucky to be in your presence. It makes him work to deserve you, because he knows that a woman like you doesn't come around every day. He knows that you don't need him, you choose him. And that difference, that makes all the difference in the world. The less available you are, the more he wants you. It sounds almost too simple, but it's one of the deepest truths about attraction. See, people, especially men, are wired to crave what feels just out of reach. They chase what they think they can't fully have, and they take for granted what feels guaranteed. That's not a game. That's just human nature. When a woman is always available, always waiting, always the first to respond, always rearranging her life to fit a man's schedule, she starts to lose a certain spark in his eyes. Not because he isn't amazing, not because he doesn't care, but because she becomes predictable. Predictability is comfortable, but it doesn't create excitement. It doesn't create urgency. And without urgency, without that little flicker of I might lose her if I don't step up, the man doesn't feel the need to put in effort. It's not about ignoring him, not about playing hard to get in some childish way. It's about having a life so full, so rich, so engaging, that you simply don't have the time to be at his beck and call. When you're always available, he knows you're waiting. But when he starts to feel like he's waiting for you, when he realizes that you have things going on, that your world doesn't revolve around him, that he has to earn your time, that's when he wakes up. That's when he starts thinking about you differently. Think about the way people treat exclusivity, whether it's a VIP club, a luxury product, or a rare experience. People place higher value on what is not easily accessible. A woman who is constantly available sends the message that her time is not precious, that she's just sitting around waiting for attention. But a woman who is selective with her time, a woman who moves like she has a purpose, like she has things to do, places to be, goals to achieve, that's the woman who keeps a man on his toes. When you pull back even slightly, a shift happens. Suddenly he notices. Suddenly he starts wondering why you're not texting first, why you're not always there, why you seem different. That curiosity turns into attraction. He starts reaching out more, he starts planning dates instead of just assuming you'll always be free. He starts putting in effort because he knows that if he doesn't, someone else might. Men don't value what is given to them too easily. They value what they feel they've earned. When you become a little less available, when you set the tone that your time is something to be deserved, not expected, you stop being an option and start being a priority. A woman who respects herself will never beg for attention. She doesn't chase, she doesn't plead, and she doesn't lower her standards just to keep someone around. Because deep down she knows one simple truth: love that has to be begged for is never real love. Respect starts from within. It's in the way you carry yourself, the way you allow people to treat you, the way you respond when someone disrespects your time, your feelings, or your boundaries. A woman who respects herself understands that attention isn't love. A man can give you attention today and disappear tomorrow. He can say sweet words but never follow through. He can make you feel like a queen one day and ignore you the next. And if you keep tolerating that, if you keep waiting around, hoping, pleading for consistency, you send a silent message. I am okay with being an afterthought. But a woman with self-respect, she doesn't tolerate half love, half effort, half presence. She doesn't sit around waiting for breadcrumbs, hoping that one day a man will finally see her worth. She knows her worth, and because she knows it, she has no problem walking away from anything that doesn't align with it. Men can sense this. They can feel when a woman is desperate for attention versus when she's secure in herself. The moment you stop needing constant validation, the moment you stop chasing a man's approval, is the moment he starts seeing you differently. Because confidence mixed with self-respect, that's intoxicating. A woman who respects herself doesn't blow up a man's phone when he goes silent. She doesn't rearrange her life to fit his inconsistent energy. She doesn't cry over unanswered texts or let his mixed signals control her emotions. Instead, she takes his silence as an answer. She recognizes that anyone who truly values her will show up for her without needing to be begged. And here's the truth. When you carry yourself with self-respect, you naturally weed out the men who aren't serious, the ones who just want to play games, the ones who want you to be available 24/7 but don't want to put in effort, the ones who take but never give. Those men fade away when they realize you won't tolerate nonsense. And the ones who truly see your worth, they step up, because they know that a woman who respects herself is a woman they can't afford to lose. Respecting yourself isn't about being cold or distant. It's about setting a standard and refusing to lower it for anyone. It's about knowing that the right love will never require you to beg. It will come naturally, effortlessly, and with the kind of energy that never leaves you questioning where you stand. If you glow in your own energy, he will feel your absence. This isn't just about physical beauty, the way you dress or the way you style your hair. It's about something much deeper. It's about the energy you carry, the way you light up a room, the way you live your life with purpose, joy, and self-fulfillment. When a woman is truly in tune with herself, when she radiates confidence, peace, and happiness that isn't dependent on a man, she becomes unforgettable. Men don't just miss a woman's presence, they miss the way she made them feel. And the most magnetic women are the ones who know how to create a presence so powerful that it lingers even when they're gone. Think about it. Have you ever met someone whose energy was so warm, so positive, so alive, that just being around them made you feel inspired? That's the kind of woman a man will always remember. That's the kind of woman whose absence hurts, because she wasn't just physically there, she was a force. But here's the key. This kind of energy isn't something you fake. It's not about pretending to be happy, acting like you don't care, or using tactics to make a man miss you. It's about genuinely pouring into yourself, building a life so full and rich that, whether he's there or not, you are still glowing, you're still thriving, you're still moving forward. And that's when he feels it. A woman who glows in her own energy is the kind of woman who doesn't fall apart when a man pulls away. She doesn't sit around waiting, doesn't obsess over unanswered texts, doesn't stalk his social media trying to figure out what he's doing. No, she's too busy living, too busy evolving, too busy becoming the best version of herself. And that's when he starts to notice. He notices when you stop giving all your time and energy to him. He notices when your energy is no longer centered around him but around you. He starts to wonder why you're not checking up on him, why you seem so unbothered, why your life seems to be thriving without him in it. And that's when the regret creeps in. That's when he starts remembering the way you laughed, the way you carried yourself, the way your presence made his life brighter. Because the truth is, men always feel the difference between a woman who needs them and a woman who chooses them. When you glow in your own energy, when you build a life so fulfilling that you are happy with or without him, that's when your absence becomes loud. That's when he starts missing you, not just as a person, but as an experience. Because a woman like that, she's rare. And a man always feels the loss of something rare. Some men return out of ego, not love. Know the difference. This is one of the hardest lessons to learn, but once you do, you will never let the wrong man back into your life again. See, when a man realizes he no longer has access to you, when he sees that you're no longer waiting by the phone, no longer craving his attention, no longer revolving your world around him, his ego takes a hit. And for some men, that hit is unbearable, not because he loves you, not because he suddenly understands your worth, but because he can't stand the thought of losing the control he once had. Because for some men, it's never about you, it's about them. It's about knowing that you were once an option, that you once gave them your all, that you once saw them as someone irreplaceable. And when that changes, when he sees you glowing, moving forward, finding joy in your own life without him, that's when he comes back, not to cherish you, but to reclaim his place in your mind. A man whose return is based on ego will act like he misses you, but pay close attention. Does he miss you, or does he miss the power he had over you? Does he truly regret losing you, or does he regret that you're no longer giving him attention? There's a difference, and if you're not careful, you'll mistake one for the other. Love is consistent. Love shows up. Love is willing to do the work, to grow, to change. But ego just wants to win. Ego wants to prove a point. Ego wants to see if it can still pull you back, still make you doubt yourself, still make you second guess whether you moved on. That's why some men come back just to check if they still can. And the moment they realize they can, they disappear again, leaving you in the same cycle of confusion and heartbreak. That's why it's so important to look beyond the words and pay attention to the actions. A man who returns out of love will come back better. He will come back with effort, with accountability, with changed behavior. He will show you, not just tell you, that he understands what he lost and is willing to prove that he deserves another chance. But a man who returns out of ego, he won't do any of that. He'll come back with nostalgia, with sweet words, with just enough attention to make you wonder if things could be different this time. But give it a little time and you'll see his patterns haven't changed. His effort fades once he knows he has you again. His interest is temporary because it was never about building something real. It was about feeding his pride. This is why you have to be strong, because the moment you show a man that he can come and go as he pleases, the moment you allow him back without requiring him to prove anything, you teach him that he never really lost you. And as long as he believes that, he will never respect what he had with you. So when he comes back, ask yourself, is he here because he truly values me? Or is he just here to see if he still has access to me? Because the wrong answer to that question could cost you your peace, your progress, and your self-worth. And no man, especially one moving from ego, is worth that price. Silence speaks louder than words. It carries a power most people underestimate. When you stop responding, when you stop explaining, when you stop justifying yourself to someone who took you for granted, that silence becomes deafening. A man might ignore your words, he might brush off your pleas, he might overlook your frustration. But when you remove yourself completely, when you give him nothing to react to, that's when he starts to feel it. That's when he starts to notice. See, people expect reactions. They expect arguments, they expect emotional responses, they expect you to fight for their attention. Even if they're not giving you the same energy in return, they expect to have a hold over you, to know that they can say or do something to trigger a response. But when you stop reacting, when you stop entertaining the cycle, when you refuse to engage in their games, they lose their power. That's when a man starts to really feel your absence. Think about it. When a man is used to you checking up on him, used to you asking why he's distant, used to you being available whenever he decides to show up, he doesn't value it. It's expected. But the moment you fall silent, the moment you don't text back, the moment you don't chase, that's when he starts wondering, why isn't she reaching out? Why isn't she asking what's wrong? Has she moved on? And those thoughts, those eat at him, because now the script has flipped. Now instead of you trying to figure him out, he's trying to figure you out. Silence forces a man to sit with himself, to sit with the weight of his choices, his actions, his neglect. And for a man who thought you'd always be there, who thought he could keep you as an option, who thought he could come and go as he pleases, that silence becomes his greatest fear. Because now there's no reassurance, no guarantee, no way to know if you're still waiting. And the moment he starts to realize that he may have actually lost you, that's when regret kicks in. That's when he starts replaying every moment in his mind, trying to figure out where things shifted. But here's the thing, silence is only powerful when it's backed by action. You can't just go silent for a few days, waiting for him to notice, hoping he'll come back. That's not real silence. That's just another form of waiting. True silence means truly detaching. It means choosing yourself over the need to explain yourself. It means walking away with the quiet confidence that says, if you wanted me, you would have acted differently. It means refusing to beg for the bare minimum, refusing to engage in conversations that go nowhere, refusing to be someone's second choice. When a man starts to feel that kind of silence, when he starts to realize that you're no longer emotionally invested in the chase, that's when he truly understands what he lost. Because in a world full of noise, full of people begging to be seen, a woman who goes silent is a woman who is unforgettable. When you become the best version of yourself, he realizes what he lost. There is something undeniable about a woman who is thriving, a woman who has stepped into her power, a woman who no longer waits for anyone to choose her, because she has already chosen herself. Nothing shakes a man more than seeing the woman he once had, or the woman he took for granted, rise into her highest self without him. It forces him to confront his own mistakes, his own shortcomings, his own inability to recognize her worth when she was right in front of him. See, men assume that women will wait. They assume that the woman who once cared, once gave everything, once made them a priority, will always be there, lingering, hoping, waiting for them to change. But when a woman stops waiting, when she stops looking back, stops reminiscing, stops wondering what if, that's when reality hits him, and it hits hard, because now she's no longer the same woman she was when he left. She's not crying over unanswered texts. She's not stuck in the past. She's building herself, glowing in her own energy, creating a life that is so full, so rich, so abundant that whether or not he ever comes back, it doesn't even matter anymore. And the moment a man sees that, the moment he realizes she's no longer emotionally tied to his presence, that's when the regret sets in. He starts to wonder, was I the problem? Did I let go of something rare? Why didn't I appreciate her when I had the chance? And those thoughts, they eat at him, because now the woman he once knew is gone. She has transformed, she has evolved, she has become someone even more incredible, even more radiant, even more untouched. And he can't help but feel the weight of what he let slip through his fingers. But here's the truth. This transformation doesn't happen out of spite. It doesn't happen to make him regret losing you. It happens because you finally realize that you were the prize all along. It happens because you stop looking for validation from a man who couldn't see your worth, and you start giving that love, that energy, that attention to yourself. You stop proving your value and start living in it. And the more you grow, the more you shine, the more you step into your own power, the more undeniable you become. You become the kind of woman who doesn't need to beg for attention, who doesn't need to convince anyone of her worth, because her presence alone speaks for itself. And men, they always recognize that energy too late. By the time he realizes what he lost, by the time he starts thinking about what could have been, you're already too far ahead. You've already outgrown the version of yourself that once wanted him. And that is the most powerful position to be in. Because when a man finally understands your worth, but he no longer has access to you, that's when he truly feels your loss. And by then, you won't even need to look back. And that's the beauty of it all. When you stop chasing, when you stop waiting, when you stop